Hey guys, it's Mr. Hammond again. Sorry for the long wait on another science video. We've been delayed with a lot of the teachings for that, and we've been focusing a lot on math. Without further ado, this is really quick in regards to pollution, certain environmental cycles, and one of my favorite things to focus on is bioaccumulation, because that brings things into light for us. In regards to environmental cycles, two things at the grade 7 level that we really need to know is the carbon cycle and the water cycle. Not into too much depth, just know how it functions. Understand that carbon is all around us. We need carbon to survive. But one of the biggest flaws that we have right now is carbon dioxide. And even though it's naturally in our atmosphere, we are contributing to it being there in more quantities than it should. Even though the species and organisms around us, such as plants, need carbon dioxide for the process of photosynthesis, right? We breathe using oxygen, they breathe using carbon dioxide. And one of my students asked me, well, sir, if this is a cycle, why do we keep hearing complaints about carbon dioxide in our atmosphere and the, overusage of our fossil fuels and burning that creates more carbon dioxide? Well, yeah, it is a cycle, and we have arrows going back out from carbon dioxide in our atmosphere, but you could tell that there's more arrows pointing in. There's more contribution than what our world could process, and that's what's causing the increase of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere, and that's throwing our carbon cycle for a loop. Next up, our water cycle real quick. The one thing that every organism needs to live, just understanding how the water cycle works, right? We have evaporation, so the water that's there that would have started from precipitation, which we'll get to, evaporates into the air, turns from a liquid to a gas. It then condenses in the clouds up in the atmosphere as it cools down, and then as it cools even more and gets heavier, precipitation starts to happen. So rain, hail, snow, sleet. Then that drops into the runoff, so that's anything like our riverbeds, our creeks that go into lakes, seas, and oceans, and then obviously the groundwater that we have below the ground. Just quick fun fact, us as humans, we're made up of 60 to 70% water, so understand that we need this stuff, and we got to take care of it in that sense. Before we get to bioaccumulation, we need to talk about pollution. And I know that's been a topic for the last several years in trying to reduce our pollution. And it is something that we need to look into and take care of. But in order to start discussing it and discussing ways, we need to know what it is, right? Pollution is made up of pollutants, and pollutants are anything that will harm our environment. Now, just because we're in an isolated area doesn't mean that pollution is isolated there, because pollution does travel. And we could look up my little vehicle. Pollution used to travel through DDTs, which are pesticides, insecticides that prevent pests and insects from crops. Acid rain, right? So our pollution in our water then gets evaporated, and then that has chemicals in it that shouldn't be, which begins to affect the environment around us, and so on and so forth, right? PCBs for certain paints. We gotta understand the stuff that we are contributing in order to cause these pollutions, and it goes back to the carbon cycle, because a lot of it comes from there. And why do we have to care about pollution? Well, there's something in regards to bioaccumulation. It's starting to affect us, not just how we breathe, but what we consume, right? If you look at pollutants in water, they get absorbed by microorganisms, and those microorganisms get eaten by baby fish, and those baby fish by small fish, and then small fish get eaten by large fish, and we eat the large fish. And all of a sudden, the pollutants that were there, that started to grow and manifest itself in one species, ends up, getting to us. This is a quick video. You don't need to memorize everything in regards to what's on the board and how everything works specifically, but you have to understand it, and that's the biggest thing. There should be another video coming up in the next couple of days for a couple more things that we've talked about. Stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe and leave any information that you know about pollutants down in the comments. On that note, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Please stay safe, stay out of trouble, and happy learning.